that's really unique about voicing Death Battle is also that Ben and I always voice together. And so like a lot of times you're in the VO booth, you're just doing your part, right? And sometimes you'll hear like someone else's track and you'll be like responding to it. But Ben and I always record together, and that leads to like a lot of like really fun like interactions, and like we both voice directed each other for like 15 years now, basically. And we know these characters so well, and sometimes it'll be additive, or like sometimes we'll just get different deliveries and things. And it's like super fun. Honestly, it's like my favorite thing to voice that I've ever done. It's always fun working with Ben.
Aww.
So, aww. You're wholesome moment.
You're all right.
That's what I would have said too. Yeah.
Get right.
All right, never mind. Him.
No, Chad and I've been working together for 15 years now.
Yeah, 15. Like, yeah,
it is
15.
weird for a
It's
lot of us.
crazy.
Like this has become such a strange career where we're like grown ups, and it's like, well, this is all I've done my whole life. Like
Now we're
like,
grown-ups, like we were
Well-
children when we made this originally.
I mean, we were like 20.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know
We're
what's
a little
really
bit more grown up.
It's really fun explaining this job, especially when you have children. Because like when you have kids, you're forced into situations with other parents that have no similar interests as you.
Yeah.
So like I remember my daughter was young, she was at dance class, and then like you're standing there next to these other parents, and they feel this need to be like, well, we need to make small talk, and it always starts with, so what do you do? And I'm just like, fuck.
Oh, I work for a show that has cartoon characters.
Yeah,
fight
it's
each
like,
other
all
to
right,
the death.
like I make stuff on YouTube.
Yeah,
and then
I write for a web show.
and I had my kids like kind of young, and so usually they're always older, and to them it's just like they hear YouTube and like, you get that internet money? Like I've heard of that. It's like $1 a view, right? You know. And,
Like, no.
no, it's sure not.
I really wish.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah, and then it's fun to be like, yeah, and they're like, well, what do you do on YouTube? And I'm like, it's really nerdy, and they're like, oh no, like, what do you do? It's like, all right.
Please don't.
So did you ever have those like childhood arguments where like you wanted to know who would actually win in a fight to the death between like Goku or Superman?
And they're
they
like,
just
no, I learned how to
stare
play
blankly
Chopin.
at me, and then I'm just like, yeah. So we do like a bunch of soul-crushing nerdy research, actually figure out who would win, and then we animate it, and people get mad.
For a while, my parents they thought it was a video game that I was working on, and every time I'd have to be like, no, it's tangentially related, but it is not, in fact, a video game. It's a web show. And they go, what's a web show? And I'm okay, it's a show on the web. What's that? So it was very fun.
I went to a convention. This was relatively early on, maybe 5 years into Death Battle. It was after Goku vs. Superman. It was a small like college thing. It wasn't there for me. It was there for my girlfriend at the time. And some guy came up and punched me in the back. It was like a playful punch, but it was clearly like weird. Like I turned and this guy's like booking it away from me. I only get like the back of his head. So I'm like, well, that was messed up. All right, if that happens again, I'm gonna try to catch him.
Yeah.
Literally on the way out, last day, I was literally getting into my car. Boom. Hit in the back, turn around, I see him go into the building that's right next to us. So
Didn't he yell that was for Goku?
Yes, he yelled that was for Goku. I go in, and I find him. He's actually one of the volunteers working there. Obviously not as great as these guys.
No.
Again, this is
I
like
didn't know that part.
some shitty little college thing. But
Yale.
I pointed him out, and some of the people who were running it were like, oh, it's that guy. So they actually brought on the police officer who was on campus. It's really weird trying to explain Death Battle to a cop. Yeah, that was bizarre. So I just kind of left after
Ben,
that.
could you illustrate for us how exactly you explained Death Battle to a police officer? I'll be the police officer.
Wait, what? Sir,
I always thought Death Battle needed more improv.
I work in, well, nowadays,
Yeah.
I would say, I work for an animation company.
Yeah, but what'd you say back then?
I did not work for an animation
Yeah, that's
company.
what I
worked
thought.
for a little thing called Screwtax.
What kind of company do you work for, sir?
Make these really weird animations on YouTube.
Is that what you actually would have said? Really
I
weird?
said it is the nerdiest thing you've ever heard.
That's what I say too.
Prepare yourself.
Yeah, it's like it's assuming a defensive posture.
Yeah, it's awkward to say the least.
I mean, that was also back when our official company name was Screw Attack Entertainment LLC. And when you tell people,
My dad thought.
Which
what?
Screw Attack was a lot of fun, but the number of people who thought we worked for a porn website.
That's what yeah, my dad thought that too.
Always.
Dude.
I was like, no, it's a move from Metroid, actually, father.
Well, especially when you try to be like, all right, they're not gonna understand. So you're just like, I make videos online.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, cool. What's the company name? And I'm like, you know, because like it's Screw Attack Entertainment. I was picking up boxes, like shipping boxes, at a U-line, and this guy, after he asked me, he looked at it, he goes, so you do porn?
So
and I go, no, it's not. He goes, come on.
It's okay.
Like I'm not lying to you.
So my options explaining to this police officer were either he has the initial impression that I work for a porn website, or I essentially do the equivalent of smashing action figures together.
It's the second one, officer.
It is the second one. Have you ever had to explain it to somebody, Sam?
Yeah, all the time. Well, I will say the nicest thing now is I just say, oh, I'm a producer, and they go, cool. And that's every goddamn time. Nobody even knows what that job is. You don't care. They're fucking out. You might as well be an accountant. It's great. Love it. But yeah, no, I mean.
Maybe I should just start doing
Yeah,
that.
you should.
Yeah.
Because I'm a producer.
It
just
sucked, like, when your grandma's like, what do you do now? And you're like, let's not, Grandma. Listen, I literally did that with my grandma. I was like, we're not gonna, I do a thing, it's so young. You're 60 years past at least. Let's just hang out and play cards.
It's so young. It's a
great. Yeah,
great
play
way
good
of
cards.
describing that and just shoving it to the side. That's awesome.
Did anybody here watch our Saitama versus Popeye episode? I love that episode. This guy voiced Popeye.
I'm Popeye.
Yeah. Well, I showed that one to my grandpa.
Really?
Because I thought, like, okay, he's
That's a
going
good
to
one
get a
for
kick
it,
out of it,
yeah.
because,
Yeah.
like, he's not going to know who the hell Saitama is, but
He knows who
Popeye,
Popeye is, yeah.
He'll know
Everyone
Popeye.
knows Popeye is.
And now he is convinced that I work on the official Popeye show. That's what he will tell people.
Yo, but the official Popeye account on social media was all about
Going
it.
hard, and still is.
Yeah, oh, it
he
was
was like, who
amazing.
is who is that Deku feller? And I'm like, oh, dude.
Dude,
And then
whoever's running that account, love those guys. They're
Oh yeah,
great.
because then they're straight up. They're like basically just being like, yeah, because we beat his ass. Like,
Oh, but now their Twitter, I've noticed, ever since, I don't know if maybe they did this beforehand, but it feels like ever since we did the death battle, now the
Yes.
Popeye Twitter
Yeah.
challenges like random anime
other
characters.
anime characters, yeah.
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 Deku was the most recent one that I saw. Yeah.
I feel like it's
Who has
because
already
it's
died?
such like an old boomer brand. It's like the biggest social media interaction they've ever got. They're
Absolutely.
Like, we gotta cling to
They
it,
have to
gang.
cling
like,
to it,
We
yeah.
gotta talk to this, but I mean, good for them.
Yeah.
We're,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
glad
Yeah,
to
good
help
to feel
the
that we have
Popeye
more of a
people out.
social media presence than Popeye. I don't know what that means for me personally, but it feels good, you know?
Yeah. We did that one for the boomers. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I mean, we always really appreciate it, especially like when a brand or like series will like, get behind like what we're doing, because, you know, like we like us and the team and everybody involved like put in a ton of work to make these episodes happen, and it's all in celebration like of these IPs and brands and characters, and so it sucks when then
Even
somebody's
though sometimes it might not feel like it when your character dies. I
yeah, but
understand.
no, but it really is like, I mean, so many
Gets their head
times.
cut off.
Yeah, well,
Heart pulled out of their chest.
well,
Turned into paste,
yeah, and it's like no, but-
eaten. That's the worst kind of death.
Fine. No, but like, yeah, like I mean, like there's plenty of times where we had characters we loved that we wanted to see win but died. But it's all in celebration. We love talking like about the media and about this stuff, and like so many times we'll have people come up, and like the ones that I like talk about all the time is like I'm a big fan of Berserk. And I think I've had more people come up to me and talk about like how they got into Berserk by watching Death Battle than any other thing.
Yeah.
And it's super cool, right? Yeah. So like that's the thing is like it's all in celebration of these shows, and so it's really awesome when like a brand, especially like Popeye, will just be like, hell yeah, put me in the ring, let's go. You know, like it's super fun. Yeah.
Honestly, I wish more brands would do it. It feels like sometimes they just like shy away from us because we're violent. I mean, sure, yeah, but like
death in our title.
It's like Popeye and Mortal Kombat are the only people that fuck with us. It's like out of everything, like DC Comics has never been like, good one, gang, in like we
and we're owned by
technically-
Warner.
Yeah, we have the same dad.
We
Like-
had a couple. We had a writer one time for like a Lex Luthor comic that was like
it
was correct.
The guy had wrote for both
Iron Man.
Iron
He
wrote
Man
for
and
both.
Lex,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
he was like, "That's how it would go," which was very validating.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like, yes. Those are always great.
Yeah, every so often somebody will come out of the woodwork and be like, "That was great." I guess not woodwork. They're literally more famous than us, and more successful.
Yeah.
And
making
better,
actual
and
better
prettier.
stuff. Yeah. Who all is excited for this year's season of Death Battle? Who's ready for it? Who's ready to know one of the episodes? Okay. Here's the thing. I'm gonna check the ratings.
Yeah.
If 50 of you have rated this as 5-star, I'll go ahead and
Yes!
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and say what the next episode is going to be, or what an episode is going to be. Let's see.
That Death Battle panel was going all right until they held
Wow,
us
okay.
hostage for ratings.
24 votes so far. Not
We're
enough.
good pal. What?
Not enough.
You didn't think that was enough? I thought that was way more
This
than
is
enough.
the most shameful pandering bullshit. All right, I'll tell you what.
If
You
we
guys
can
have
get
some
it to 100.
I want to say what it
All right,
is.
while we get there, you want to answer some questions? You want to
Sure.
All right, cool.
Sure.
So
and,
here's
and
the thing.
by
man,
the
a
end
couple-
of
man, a
the
couple
end of
y'all-
the panel, if this is at I don't know, 273,
That's not going to happen. No.
we'll see.
3,056.
No, we'll let you guys know what it is at the end.
Chad, do you want to pick people to ask questions?
So I was going to, but I think we might be getting a mic set up.
Oh,
Do you
snap.
want that to be in one central location, or do you want to run it around to different people that we pick?
Microphone.
One central location. You're like, hell no, dude. Don't
I
make
guess
me do that.
maybe
I
we
got
should
it.
have.
All right, so he's gonna
planned how
put
to
that
do this
there.
ahead of
So
time.
if y'all want to orderly,
Everyone
line
went as
up-
fast as
no,
possible.
no. Let's just pick people because the orderly line will we'll be here all night unless
Okay, so
there's,
we'll pick
if there's
people-
no one else in this panel room for the next 3 hours. Start a line.
I got it. Okay, cool. So we'll pick people,
okay.
and then you can go up to the mic. Sound good? So here's one thing that makes this way easier on us that I stole from somebody that I don't remember at a panel one time. Hold up like an object that's a little interesting, so that we can be like, person holding that mask with the blue thing on it, right? See, that's way easier because one thing that breaks my heart is when we're doing a panel and I'm like, you, and someone's like, yes, me, and I'm like, no, actually, I meant the person behind you. All right, cool. You're next. Are you cosplaying as the Shadow? That's amazing. Hell yeah.
Shadow. Ah.
Yeah, the Shadow knows, and so do I.
Well, I think the Shadow. Come ask your question, I guess.
Well, I got him first. 'cause
Okay,
I
mask
called
guy,
out.
yeah, that's
Shadow-
only fair.
Shadow's up next.
Shadows 2. We got 62.
Oh, we got 62.
Oh,
Cool.
Whoa,
banging.
that
Okay.
jumped.
Thank you.
So first things first, Griffith did nothing wrong. You can fight me.
Okay.
Oh,
Griffith
God.
did nothing wrong. Chad, what do you have to say about that?
I'm not touching that. He did a lot.
not a
of things.
question.
He did a lot of things wrong.
And the real question is, what is y'all's favorite death battle personally?
Oh my God.
That's so hard.
We're starting with literally the hardest question.
I will
oh my
say,
gosh.
one thing I always talk about, I've answered like a million panels, like research-wise, Ben and I had an absolute blast doing He-Man Lino. Like it's so much fun because I took He-Man, he took Lino, and then literally like every day we'd come back into the office and be like, he'd be like, oh, well, Lino did this. And I'd be like, oh yeah, well, He-Man did this. And then the next day he'd be like, oh yeah, well, Lino did this. And I'm like, cue. And then it was super fun. But then honestly, Saitama Popeye is probably my #1 favorite death battle of all time. It's written so well, and again, like honestly, my involvement with death battle like nowadays is literally I just like voice or like add some stuff to the script when I'm voicing, and so like I'm like blown away by how far the show has come and how many like amazing, talented people have come aboard and like lent their own like talent and creativity to take the show to where it is, and that episode is such a celebration of like. It's written super well. It's unique. It's funny. We covered multiple different styles of animation, and like it just feels like a celebration of like everybody who's worked on the show, and like anyway. So yeah, like that one for sure.
Complimenting you.
I know. I was keeping it low key. I wasn't gonna be like.
Yeah, top
Thanks, Chad.
top that, Liam. No, but yeah.
I have a way to top it.
Okay, what do you want?
Well, I could have mentioned one that we've already made, but I think my favorite might be the one that I could be announcing
Oh my
in
God.
just a few minutes.
Okay.
Wait,
Cute.
And I mean that unironically.
Okay, sure. We'll announce it at the end. But yes.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I haven't said anything.
Some people
I've
might know
given
what it
no information whatsoever.
I think you've given them.
I've given no information.
That is such a hard question. The one that comes to mind that's really, that I'm, it's like we have so many people working on incredible stuff. Sauron versus Lich King, which we just did recently, I'm very proud of how that one turned out. That was one where, from the research process and writing to bringing in these Lord of the frickin' Rings into Death Battle was such a massive sort of endeavor to not just, you know, bring in all the research, but also to like understand what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like a versus thing, like looking into franchises and whatnot and stories, we do so in a way where 99% of these stories were not meant to be looked at in this way at all.
Not at all.
Like you're not supposed
Not
to
even
look at Lord of
remotely.
the Rings and be like, can Sauron?
How many planets can Sauron blow
Yeah.
up? Yeah.
How many tons of metal can
Tolkien
he
would have like
break?
vomited profusely if he saw.
Yeah, which is always one of the things that I'm constantly thinking about Death Battle is like I don't want us to come across as like bastardizing what these stories are.
Yeah.
But the research process of that was intense, and also World of Warcraft is just Warcraft in general is massive.
Yeah.
And then also I had a very particular vision of how to create that fight, and to really make them feel like the godly figures that they are. And Dido's animation team and Billy's Unreal and effects
The
team
VX,
just,
the VFX went off.
Yeah.
So hard.
Yeah.
it
And,
was-
and
it was
Luis,
so-
who's been learning 3D animation,
Yeah.
animated on that.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Luis has been our sprite animation director. Absolutely incredible, incredibly talented.
Yeah.
He's been running the show for several years now. Has started getting into 3D as well. He's always been involved in every single animation, regardless of whether or not it's sprite. Even though he started with us as a sprite animator, and now he's literally part of every animation process from start to finish, which
And
is
he's
crazy.
the sweetest guy ever.
Yeah,
So
Oh, yeah.
it's just
he's
the
an
total
amazing
package.
guy. And animation is a very tedious and difficult thing to learn.
Yeah.
So in order to have, somebody knows.
Is that an animator right here? Yeah, yeah.
In order to be able to use multiple different types of animation, it's not as simple as like, I mean, you can kind of bring some skill sets into other like types or whatever. This is another conversation.
I mean-
but it's really impressive.
The softwares are languages, and if you can speak one language, you have an idea how to speak another one. It does not mean you can speak it. Like that's how.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I got a couple standout ones, like McGruff Smokey. Just like that was one that Chad and I wrote like a whole segment of bear puns one day, and it was just like a good day at the office, and that's why I like that episode. And we had a lot of bangers that didn't make it in the end because
I legit-
obviously got too crass. But
Were they
like-
bangers? Were they actually?
Oh, they were bangers. And then
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think
We were working on it, or I was writing it, and I think I was literally like, I need bear puns.
Yeah.
And you were like, we got it.
yeah.
You just went off and wrote like 100 or something. It was crazy.
Yeah. And then kind of Wonder Woman She-Ra, I feel like I got to work on that with a really good team. Like it was led by the animation with Christina Christopherson, and she killed it. And it's just such a good looking one. And they're two characters that I just like a lot. And like I feel like both of them did the same thing where they kind of superseded in quality their like male counterparts. Like I like She-Ra a lot more than I like He-Man, and I like Wonder Woman a lot more than I like Superman. And they're just like great archetypes, and they do so well, and that fight is just so fucking cool. And yeah, I just like that one a lot. But that's like a very personal bias.
Yeah. There are certain fights that like I attribute to people that we've
Yeah.
worked with is like that's like such an excellent showcase of their talent. Like Torian, longtime animator of ours, amazing to work with. But I always think about like Dante versus Bayonetta and
Yeah.
All Might versus Mike Guy as the animations that like
Yeah.
he
Also, Balrog
made
TJ.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Balrog TJ
yeah.
also, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are probably the three that I think of where he like went so far, like made something beyond what we could ever expect. To a
Yeah.
certain extent, where I always have this like nagging fear in the back of my head whenever I see some of these animations come together with that's like, this is too good. We might be setting a standard here that we can't maintain with every single episode.
I would reckon if you look at a lot of YouTube shows, like we've raised our bar time and time again, and it's
Yeah.
getting to a point where it's really fucking difficult to keep up with it. But like it's cool, it's fun, it's great.
Yeah.
It's like that's how you become a better show.
I never like voice that to any sort of project though, because I think it's important for our team is so like dedicated to what they do and also creating new things in the animation and the creativity of what we do is so
Yeah.
important to it that I'm like, okay, if you've got an idea, if you get really invested in this as an animator, go for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to hold them back, even though
they're
there's definitely going to be some
bring it
episodes
up.
that have a lot more crazy effects than others, just based on manpower and time and whatnot. So we have kind of an inconsistent look. But that's
Yeah.
fine.
I will
We're
also
having fun
say,
making it.
Like one thing I just want to clarify real quick is like we're not singing our praises. Like this team has expanded so much that like it literally like I was saying earlier, it's like when we're talking about this, we're just like we see like what our animators have accomplished, and we love to like give like our animators freedom to like do cool stuff that they want to do. So and so like we'll see this stuff and we'll be like, holy shit, this is our show. You know, like it's amazing. So like when we talk about that stuff, it's not just being like, yay, pat on the back. No, we're just like, look at what our friends do.
I love showing
They're
you,
insane.
especially because you're not always in the loop on the process of every episode. So I love like showing you the preview animation of an episode that we're working on. I'm like, Chad, have you ever seen The Best Thing Ever? Here you go.
Oh, you and Luis kept sending me shit from SpongeBob, Aquaman, like
Yeah, dude.
constantly. We're like, watch this, and I was like, was that Zach's?
Was that Zach's mouth?
Whatever.
Sure was.
I will say, not to mildly shill for tomorrow, which we have another panel, by the way.
2:30 p.m. Hey.
One of the other
3 of you
favorite
will be
episodes
there.
I got to work on was Jin versus Ryu, because Omega Sparks turned in a soundtrack for it. Like that was just, it went so goddamn hard. I was so excited to put
Kinda
the whole
crazy.
thing together, and so was Tori. And it was just like, this works so fucking well. Like let's just get it together. We all want to see it, and it was just great. So hopefully they might be joining us tomorrow, so we can talk a little bit about the music of Death Battle. Cause
Sparks and Swats. Will be
yeah,
joining us.
music goes a long way for Death Battle, and so does. I mean, while we're on the note of singing other people's praises, like having a professional sound team as well is another thing that has like brought us up a caliber, because sound is so good now.
To conclude my thought that I was saying,
Oh, yeah,
that
my
I
bad.
completely forgot I was talking about. She-Ra Wonder Woman is definitely one that comes to mind with Christina. She did such an incredible job on that one.
Yeah, she
Anyway,
really, really
we spent
did.
like 10 minutes on that question, so
The Shadow.
Yeah, we really Kevin Smith that. All right,
Yeah, we
Shadow.
said Shadow.
Shadow. And we'll try to keep these a little quick.
Shadow. The Hedgehog.
You felt so validated when I knew who you were. Like, has everybody? what have people been guessing that you were?
Nothing. They've all been very confused. I've had 3 people today, including you, know who I was, and it's downheartening sometimes.
I've wanted to do a death battle with the Shadow. Actually, we had somebody ask us.
Darkman.
Yeah, somebody asked for like we were talking about doing like a radio play death battle, and like the Shadow like came to mind when we were talking about it. But also, there is a terrible movie with Alec Baldwin.
One of the ball.
It wasn't that bad.
It was. I mean, sorry, terrible. It's like one of those like it's terrible, but it's like it's worth watching. Anyway.
I should say, but before we get to the question, in terms of a radio death battle, the one that I really want to do, and be sure to show your support in the comments for it, is Light Yagami versus Columbo.
Yeah, I know. We know.
It would be
He's
perfect.
not kidding.
I'm not kidding. No, because it's perfect. Because he doesn't know Columbo's first name, so he can't kill him with the Death Note. So it's still a mind game. I've thought this through. It's going to be amazing.
That is such a good part of that puzzle, but also it's so silly.
The crazy thing is, I actually really like it.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
But I don't want to.
Nobody will watch it. Nobody.
I'll
in
watch
the
it.
last 50
I'll watch
years
it
has
1,000
done
times.
Because
Anyway.
they'll listen to it. All right, go on.
I watched Columbo. I'd watch it.
There you
yes.
We got one.
But so,
Coming from the shadow.
out of all you guys have done a great amount of different ones, and I'm sure like the research was tough. Was there ever one of them that you're just like, okay, we found our answer, but it really could have been the other way if we just literally wanted to just flip the video
So,
the other way?
This is like the nicest way of trying to trap us, and if we were biased, you guys heard that right? It was like, yeah, but if you did skew one of them,
The question, and we're supposed to repeat it for the people who cannot hear it that are watching the recording, is there any matchups that were like super close in research and that could have gone either way? I mean, I think we've used the allegory before where it's like, it'll go this way 6 out of 10 times kind of thing, where it's like, it's very close. One that comes to mind is like that took a lot of deliberating was like Bowser Ganon, just because like, there's just these big bads and they both have survived so much, and there's yeah, you can dunk Bowser in lava and then he comes back up as living bones. Is he dead? Right? Like, so there's just so many questions like that where I think it goes back and forth and it is very close. And I think these days especially, we note it when we're like, this one is like it's a tight one, gang. So
Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, almost every episode kind of falls into that because it's just the nature of this kind of thing, the fictional.
Based on how you
fight.
interpret information, you can kind of make a case for anything.
It's such we don't do like factual research. We do interpretive research.
Yeah.
Like some of the research can be fact, sure, but at the end of the day, we're looking at something on a comic page.
Yeah.
and figuring out what that means.
How fast is Superman? Well, nothing. He's a cartoon. He's a drawing on a piece of paper, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not real.
So. I think the majority of episodes, to a certain extent, can fall under that. Hulk Doomsday, of course, comes to mind as like a big one. But the
And
one that
probably
doesn't
Hulk,
is
too.
Omnilander, of course.
that one,
Yeah.
that one wasn't close.
It's
The absolute closest fight I think we may have ever had was actually this last season, and it was Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna. That is one that is so incredibly close because the two characters, their power is they can do anything they can think of. And how powerful are they? Well, exactly even. It's just that one of them can go crazy sometimes, and that's the only difference that really affects that. So that one was insanely close, and we were talking about that for a while.
Yep.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, hold up interesting things.
Yeah, I like
Liam, pick.
I like the lightsaber, the red lightsaber.
All right.
Very
Held
tall,
by the
long
Travis
Travis
Touchdown.
touchdown.
Travis touchdown.
Yeah, we
I almost
talked
said
to him
Travis-
earlier in our signing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you say? What did you say to me, Sam?
Nothing.
What did you say to me?
You need to stop
Just
with your
go ahead.
liquoring.
I'm gonna get you.
See, well, we already discussed about me wanting Travis touchdown, Scott Pilgrim, but I have to ask this question because I know people are gonna bother me if I don't ask this question.
Who is going to bother you? I'm just kidding.
A lot of people.
I will.
But
Okay.
The question is, I hate that I'm asking this, will you ever do Goku versus Superman 3? I don't want it, but I know people want to know.
So
All right, watch this. You want Goku versus Superman 3? Yeah. You see? Do you know how hard that is to get a reaction on a panel? I could be like, I could say anything and people are like, yay! And then, but like,
we
Do you want Goku vs. Superman 3?
no,
see? And that's the thing. It's like it's a mixed reaction. I'm not saying no, but like it's something that we've considered because I've never seen like such a divisive thing because like some people are like, yes, we want it, and so many other people are like, can we not?
Yeah.
I will say, if we do Goku Superman again, it would probably be a completely different like type of
it would.
episode.
I think it would be kind of like how we did Mario Sonic, where we'd limit them to like New 52 or something like that, right? But
We've been digging into Xenoverse and whatnot lately.
yeah,
Maybe we
yeah.
do that? I don't know.
In to do what the paper says, the question was, will you ever do Superman versus Goku 3? But like, I mean, also, yeah. I don't know. It's we joked about releasing a video that was essentially just cats versus dogs as Goku versus Superman for like an April Fool's joke, and I still think that's like the best idea, just because like that is the argument is like, do you like West or East, or like it's the same, like they're just such a similar character. What he's
I don't-
on?
that's
I don't know.
not a-
Ben's
that's not a
writing
word.
a secret message. What's
Well,
happening?
I was going to say, if we were to do it again, it would be different in the way that the show is different, because Goku versus Superman 1 is a season 1 episode, and that was made on a much more. I mean, Goku versus Superman, like as I understand, like it went full out, but it wasn't
a
the
very
same
different
way.
process back then,
Yeah,
the actual show
it wasn't the same as like we would go through every Superman comic, and that would be a lot. That would be a lot of work. But we would do it because that's how we do our research these days. Which is fun if you're doing a character from the late 30s and they've had new material every single month since then.
I mean, honestly, Superman is just, there is so much interesting stuff. Like, I always think we have a great Desk of Death Battle episode where the origin of Kryptonite comes from the radio drama. The man who played Superman wanted a vacation, and they needed an excuse for him to be trapped for a week, so the only audio they had from him was going, ugh. So they made Kryptonite on the Superman radio show so he could have a vacation. Like, that's how old the bullshit you have to go through on Superman is. So it's fucking ridiculous. So, like, at least Goku's just like, Dragon Ball's lit. Like it. None of that weird shit. Like, Akira Toriyama didn't make up, like, a weakness because he needed a vacation. That never happened. So it's like, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean,
It's not out of the question. It's possible.
yeah, it's not out of the question. None of us want it. One day you'll probably get it.
He kind of did, because there might be other things to the Super Saiyan, but one of the reasons why he made Super Saiyan was because he was getting tired of coloring in the hair.
God, that's sick. I've never seen anyone be so lazy in
Toriyama.
such a
Yeah.
great way ever.
He let his kids animate cells for that, right? Like, I'm not kidding. That's,
Yeah.
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 Anyway.
So there's ever like,
Some of that Boo Saga art is a little suspect.
Ben, this one's on you.
Okay. Let's do.
I like the one
Trying
with
to
a picture
game the
of
system.
Chad.
I see what
right?
you're doing.
This man's got a picture of Chad.
dancing over here.
Yeah,
He's
this
the-
guy's dancing.
He's
yeah.
the animator.
This is
so that
great.
is
Yeah,
good.
there you go.
And
bring
he
you
certainly is quite animated.
Any
Yeah.
multicolored light? You're just throwing your own rave. All right.
Yeah.
Let's bring up the rave.
Come on up. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
You tricked us.
There you go.
Supporting
that.
his friend. That's awesome.
What you got for us?
Hello, my name is Yannick, and I wanted to ask, how do you guys deal with burnout and mental, challenges? With
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. Yo, gang.
Hey, Ben, you want to talk about this?
Question: how do we deal with mental burnout and just getting tired of the show overall? We've been working on the show for over a decade now. There have definitely been times, especially back when we didn't have a team, where I felt exhausted by it. I think there are some episodes that you can go back and watch and you can kind of tell. Beast versus Goliath, I think, is one that comes to my mind. Is like, yeah, I clearly wasn't really into that one. It's tough. I think for me, I don't know if I really had a good way of dealing with it outside of working with other people. Once I got the opportunity to bring on these guys, outside of, because before it was just me and Chad, and then maybe an animator. And that was kind of what was like driving me crazy. And then we brought on the researchers. I think bringing in the researchers was a huge help, bringing you and the rest of the research team.
Can I speak to you? Because like I noticed that, like, shout out to, like, Ben did so much more of the heavy lifting of like what made this show what it was and the creation of it. Like, he put so much work in. Like, literally, I've told this to a lot of people before, but if you don't know, like, I literally would at times, like, I would like walk in and like Ben didn't go to home the previous night, and like he was asleep on his computer with like an animation up. And I think honestly, like, one of the, like, the research team helped, like you were saying, but it was honestly like when we started expanding our writing staff.
Yes.
And that helped a little bit. And then I honestly, like, when we became a part of Rooster Teeth and we've expanded it to like what it is now, was like the most, like, I saw that burden lifted from you.
Yeah, that's. I was kind of clumsily getting there, but that's kind of what I was getting to. Is I think
I'm
for
validating
me, yeah, thank you. For me, leaning on the rest of the team that we have is what really helps me through it. Sometimes there'll be episodes that I just get really into, but every so often, it's inevitable. Like, everybody gets that moment of burnout, especially after working on the same thing for years.
Yeah.
I think in season 7, you went from directing like almost every episode to season 8 directing half of the episodes, because I basically took the other half, and it was like, or that was more season.
But
9,
I'm even talking about like on episodes that I am directing or helping with writing. There might be days where I'm just like, I am not like in it. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
But I am so thankful to have a team of people, you, Josh, other directors that we work on, writers, etc., who I can trust to make this work. And so I just take a step back, keep it a little, try to push it a little out of my head more.
Liam, how would you write this fart joke?
Exactly. And that's obviously a situation that's very unique. Like, not everybody who deals with that kind of thing has a team like this. Because literally back in the day when there was no team, I didn't really have a solution. And to this day, I don't know what I should have done.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
I don't know.
I think burnout and everything is such a very big part of not just like creative jobs, but literally any job. And it is a part of culture that luckily we're talking a lot more about. But like, I think there's also nobody can say enough about like, yo, therapy's dank, B. But like, also like, share your excitement, like the things you do like about your job. Like, I mean, that's honestly, there's so many times working on episodes where I would be like, kind of like, God, I've been writing this, like, and I'm just kind of stuck and I don't know where to go next. And then Torian or someone would show me part of the animation. I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm back in it. This is fucking sick. Like, And like, so sharing the things you're excited about with your coworkers, like a lot of times that goes a long way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even like from like a voice acting perspective, like voice acting is one of my favorite things that I do. I absolutely love it, and especially like playing Boomstick. There's been a couple of times where I'm just like, it takes a lot of energy, like to voice act, also to be Boomstick, right? And there's been a couple times I'm like, oh, man, I've got this VO session. But then within like a minute or two, because I'm in the session with Ben, then I'm all amped up. And I'm like, oh, cool. Oh, this is funny. Let's do this. You know, and we're bouncing off each other.
This is one of the reasons why whenever we start a new season of Death Battle, obviously we have to go through a process to plan, like what episodes are we going to do? A big thing for me is to make sure that as much of the team as possible gets involved in the decision-making process. We run each episode idea through the researchers, animators, etc., to make sure, hey, are there episodes here that you're excited about, that you want to work on? Because if it was just a full season of episodes where the entire team is like, yeah, that's all right, that would suck. And then,
Hey, you like One Piece? No? Too bad. Watch it all.
And I think that definitely helps a lot. So it's very important to me to make sure that people are invested in it, and like who animates what. Generally speaking, we like, for example, Gogeta Vegito, the episode we just did as our finale, was animated by Daito Machi and his team, who work on a lot of Dragon Ball animations. They're very into that. They are excited to work on that. So very much wanted to make that one of their projects. We've got, we work with a couple animators who have specific requests. We're even doing one next year that one of our animators specifically requested.
Oh, yeah.
And working with people like Devil Artemis and like other people from out of it is so much. Like the first time, I remember we brought him in first time for a DBX, and I was just like, I got so hyped about that project because it was getting to work with somebody that I never had worked with. I like their shit. Like, it's just so much fun to work with somebody, you know, new and from outside the box.
Yeah. So, I don't know if that really answered the question, but
it was very helpful. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Also,
no, that's a really great question.
If you
Very
can,
complicated
take vacations.
Yes.
Those also go hard.
That's another big
Go
thing.
outside. Drink water.
Yeah.
All right, Sam.
Make your bed.
Me?
Yo, this
Yeah, you
blew
pick
by.
one.
We got
Yeah,
10
yeah,
minutes
we have
left.
10
We got to go
minutes.
speed round.
We'll
All right.
make this fast.
Okay.
Sam,
It's
go.
because I'm looking this direction, green boots. I don't know what you're holding. Try it. Come here.
Wait.
Oh, you're a
Nice
walrus.
outfit.
Okay.
I want to go to a
I
restaurant.
thought you were a Jedi. I couldn't see the walrus. I thought it was a whole like done up. I was like, I almost said Jedi. Okay, yeah.
These are just my pajamas. Okay. Really quick, my trivia team, Josh Groban and the Grobanites, thanks you because we love the math very much.
Yeah.
Second thing.
Absolutely.
Josh
Dang it, I
Groban and the
waited so long.
Grobanites.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're
this-
amazing.
That sounds very familiar for some reason. Continue. Sorry, I'm
No,
sidetracking you.
I forgot what I was going to say. It was
Oh.
probably complimentary. My important thing is, Kabumbo. Please do Columbo. I love that idea.
Well, we have to do it now.
Stop validating
Yeah.
him.
The Walrus Jedi
The
said we had to
walrus
do
told
it.
us.
It's
and
happening.
then the thing that actually needs a response, will I ever get a sincere Deadpool versus Pinkie Pie?
That was
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean?
How
That
else
is
do you
sincere.
think they're going to act? Of course they're going to become best
What,
friends.
what exactly do you mean by sincere?
Yeah.
I
Who would
wanna see
actually?
somebody die.
Okay, so the question was, will we ever get a sincere Deadpool versus Pinkie Pie?
To the death.
Okay,
Oh my
listen.
gosh.
What if
Some-
we should do that? We should do like
That's
Deadpool
a
versus
new
Pinkie
one.
Pie, but instead of like parentheses the year like we usually do for remakes, we do just sincere. And then it's like Deadpool just. Actually, probably Pinkie Pie
I
would probably.
I don't think Pinkie Pie can die. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
She got so excited she exploded into pieces and then just put herself
Oh,
back
Deadpool's
together.
fucked. That's.
Yeah, I mean, isn't the sincere answer though that Pinkie Pie probably does win, right?
Yeah, I
probably,
based on
yeah.
what I've heard. I don't know for sure, but if
If
there's
that's
Toon Force
validating
stuff-
for you.
Deadpool's
I love
regen
that.
is good.
Do
but
your
it
own
takes a
independent
while.
research. Send us the essay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
All right, let's go.
We have the Popeye.
do-
We have the Popeye
It's
phone right
my
there.
turn.
Okay.
Okay, you're next.
You
you're
get next.
We got our next two.
So this dude holding up the phone with the red mask, you've been literally doing it from the
Your
beginning.
next
Let's see it.
Popeye phone.
So, real quick, what's your favorite Wiz and Boomstick moment in terms of like reacting to your analysis or
Oh.
with the battle or with the other characters in the series?
I love this. So the question was, what's our favorite like Wiz and Boomstick like interaction moment?
I think we have the same one, right?
Yeah.
It's the one we just talked about earlier today.
That man?
That man.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I mean, I think every time I go back and watch that one, the sole bad guy Ragna, it's so funny still. Like, there's a handful of them that like always get me, but that might be the top one. That was a Nick Kramer episode too, right? Yeah, he really killed it on that one.
Yeah, and we were trying to remember because somebody brought it up at our signing earlier, and it was and then Ben was like, I think Nick wrote like a little bit of that in, and then Ben and I just took it way too far.
Yeah, I think the interruption and the show ends like technical difficulties or whatever. We kind of made that up on the spot. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that one.
Absolutely. I also loved when, because we improv'd it, I was like, what if Wiz just stabbed Boomstick with a trident and then he did this scream and we just cut it off? Because it's like that's just so violent. Wiz just stabbing Boomstick.
Yeah, I think it was in the foot because I didn't want to do an actual stab. I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And for some reason that we kept that. I think in the booth when we were recording that, I was like, yeah, okay, we'll record it. It's fine. Wink. We want to actually include it. And then it showed up in the animation later. I was like, oh, okay.
Cool. Thank you. That was a good
Popeye,
question.
who did you select?
Popeye phone. Popeye phone.
There you go.
Popeye phone.
And we'll do
Popeye phone.
No.
Popeye
Oh,
phone.
I love a good
Y'all,
dance.
this will go to his head. You need to know this.
Yes, Columbo versus Light Yagami. Do it.
Good.
Stop!
Yes!
No!
In the Mount Jet
Just
we're
one more
announcing
thing.
is
Which character, after the research, actually surprised you that they lost? Besides Goku, I guess.
Starscream.
yeah.
Which character were we surprised by when they actually lost? It's happened a couple times. We'll go into something thinking we like, oh, surely this character wins. Yeah, but that one, like,
Omni-Man, definitely.
Yeah, definitely Omni-Man was the big
I'm
surprise.
trying to think. I wasn't expecting Sauron to win.
I was going to say that. I'm trying to think. Jesus. I need to like see a full list of
Yeah, I
episodes
know,
that
right?
we've done.
I have the same
Go on
problem.
YouTube and just pull it
anytime
up.
somebody's like,
Wolverine Raiden. That was a surprise.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big one.
That was my fault.
That was your fault. He was like, I found the one specific thing that can kill him.
I found that Antarctic
Yeah.
vibranium shit.
Yeah, I there's a handful, but
Not SpongeBob Aquaman. That one was fucking obvious.
Trunks versus Silver. I was surprised about that one.
yeah.
Bringing in the Xenoverse and whatnot for Dragon Ball, I thought would be on par or higher than Archie, but Archie Sonic is just ridiculous.
honestly, I mean, in both iterations somehow surprised both times on Link Cloud, but like there's a bunch of them.
Despite there being a different winner.
Yeah. It was like, yeah, but I mean, I think that's kind of the best thing when you pick one and you're like, okay, I think I know as it goes, and then it surprises you. That's always good. But
Beerus versus Galaxia was my one because there was a lot of Sailor Moon hype and some misinformation that we found out by going through the in detail like research process, and we found actually Beerus does pull it out.
The surprise winner of that fight is Toei the company.
Yeah.
You can only find it on roosterteeth.com.
yeah, Toei's come at us a few times.
All right, let's go. Another one.
One more question.
Ben, your turn.
Oh my gosh, I just have one more question. You're putting this pressure on me?
Well,
is that a wig over there?
We might have time for more if they're
Let's
fast.
do that one.
Go, 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 go!
It's a speed run question.
All right, how do you guys determine like what characters fight? Because there's some no-brainer ones like Dr. Fate versus Doctor Strange, but I never thought of like Jonathan Joestar versus Tanjiro.
Well, we think about stuff
Really?
like that. So, like something with a matchup for a character that doesn't have a very obvious matchup, like Tanjiro, we go, okay, well, who could he fight? Then we go through a couple of different options, and One of the ones that we saw was popular, and that made a lot of sense, was Jonathan Joestar, because it's like, oh, they're both anime swordsmen. One is from an old anime, one is from a current one, and they both use breathing as their fight style. Like, that's a super unique connection, and it immediately makes sense, right? Like, you go, oh, that's right, okay, breathing thing. So, yeah, we try to look for stuff like that. And, like, Ben 10 versus Green Lantern was a big example of that. Like, Ben 10 has plenty, but, like, Green Lantern?
Time, huh?
Yeah, I would say...
Thanks for the tip.
Yeah, it's just finding, like, I mean, Lucy Carnage was like a really weird push where a lot of us were like, we love this idea. Like, they're just both so, like, demented and crazy, even though they don't seem like it's not a peanut butter and jelly situation. It's like a, I don't know, butter and Marmite.
It's a declonized symbiote situation.
Yeah, I think the big thing is there's no one, like, strategy or anything like that we have involved. Like, yeah, it's great if the characters have some connections or similarities that helps make it a matchup that makes sense. We can, like, compare them in that way, but it doesn't always have to be that way. Sometimes we'll come across characters, or we have a character in mind, and we will watch some show and be like, oh, those two could actually work really well together. Or we come up with some crazy idea, like Popeye versus Saitama, for example, was more so just like,
that'd be fun.
It just
sounds amazing. Let's just do it.
I was like, the perfect Saitama match, because it's both, you can measure it both seriously and through, you know, jokey Toon Force shit and see who's better in that way.
So there's a variety of different things, but at the end of the day, it's also the vast majority of matchups come in through fan suggestions.
And, like, that form that's on every YouTube video, like, we go through that every year.
Yeah, like 80% of fights are pulled from that form.
Yeah, now through the Discord as well. There was some amazing suggestions to the Discord that we hadn't seen before. So it's
good season 11.
Honestly, the creativity of the matchups largely comes from everybody who
community.
watches. So, which is amazing.
All right, well, I was hoping we could sneak one more in, but we're at time.
It is 10, which means...
Yeah, let's check out the
I gotta
ratings.
see how many of you rated this panel 5 stars. Wait, hang on. I think it needs to update.
Don't tell them that Ben held you all hostage, okay? Like, this is completely natural.
Okay.
Mag staff, you saw nothing.
If this is enough,
thank you.
Then we will tell you what an episode is. We have 64 votes.
Hey, yeah.
Nearly double what it was earlier.
Clap. I shouldn't have done this.
There you go.
All right.
I will say thank you all for coming, and thanks for humoring me with
our
this
app,
rating thing. Okay, Liam, this is not necessarily the next episode of Death Battle, but
it's coming
it is
up.
one that we are currently working on, and Liam,
And don't
you
take
are
it straight to
kinda
This
Twitter.
is the one that...
Oh yes, also, everybody keep this secret.
Yeah, don't
This is
say
just
it.
between us.
Don't
Yeah.
say anything.
Are we still being broadcast to
We
every
are also
room
streaming.
in MAGFest? No.
I just realized we're streaming.
Well, then it doesn't matter.
Hey, shut
Everyone gets to know.
Internet people. Internet people.
You're included in the secret.
Hey, everyone on the
people,
planet.
you've never leaked anything. Don't start now. Okay,
right,
we're
Liam.
set.
This is a
What are you
matchup.
working
This is a
on?
matchup that I've wanted to do since I was a fan of Death Battle in high school. This is the first one I ever wanted to do. You ever heard of a game called Skyrim? You ever heard of a game called Dark Souls? We're gonna be doing the Dragonborn from Skyrim versus the Chosen Undead from Dark Souls.
It would have been so good if you were like, we're gonna do the city guard that took an arrow to the knee, and a random minion from just outside of town.
I'm gonna stuff so many Dark Souls memes into this episode, you won't even believe it.
Praise the sun.
Yeah.
Praise the sun!
Oh, God. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. Thank you guys for coming out. We've got a Death Battle panel tomorrow. If you see us, feel free to say hi, take a photo. Thank y'all.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
good MAGFest.
Y'all are amazing.
All right, it's like 10 p.m. I hope all of y'all are going to go drink responsibly. All right, let's go.
I'm gonna drink irresponsibly.